Hi guys, thanks for tuning into Mike Reviews It All. If you're tuning into this video, I'm guessing either you've applied at a grocery outlet bargain market, you're looking into or interested in working there, or you just got hired. If you did, congratulations. There are some great owners in this company. All the stores are independently owned, about 200 and some on the West Coast, and then I want to say there's around 20 in Pennsylvania. Being that they are independently owned means that most of them don't have a lot of money, unfortunately. So let's go through the pros and cons of working through a grocery outlet a little bit. First con is money. You're probably not going to make very much of it. Most of the employees are going to be minimum wage, not because the owners are mean, but because after giving grocery outlet their cut, especially if they're paying on a store, which all of these owners are buying stores if they haven't paid off their store, they don't have a whole lot of money. Most of them are not rich, unless your store is doing a lot of sales. And if you increase sales and the owner does better, most of them will end up paying you more. They are family-run businesses. Most of them are ran by married couples or some kind of family thing, father and son, mother-daughter, mother-son, you get the idea. But family-owned kinds of things. Jobs in there are going to be cashiering, merchandising of grocery, merchandising of frozen and deli. Those are two separate departments. And then you could end up merchandising or managing the produce department. These are all things that are in a grocery outlet bargain market. They do have a meat department and a wine department. These are generally not 40 an hour week departments. Meat department will often be done by the store manager or the owner in their spare time as they go. And produce, there will usually be two people over there. There'll be like a produce manager and then maybe somebody who merchandises on their days off or in evenings. Like I said, department managers may make $1 or more an hour or so. It's strictly up to the owner. Key holders or shift managers, as you might call them, they get overrides at the check stands and things. They may make $1 or more, an hour over minimum wage. And then generally your store manager will be the only one that can make a living wage. It's not really meant to be a job to make a living off of. It's a starting job, or it might be good for somebody who is a stay-at-home mom or dad that just wants to get out of the house and make some extra money. Kids in college. Let's talk about the pros of this, though. Scheduling. If you're a student, most grocery outlet employers, most owners will bend over backwards to work with your schedule as long as you're a good worker, because they know most people, especially college students, they're highly motivated. They need someone to work around their schedule. So if you help them out, most likely they're going to help you out and make sure that you can make it to the classes as long as you're doing your job while you are there. The one exception to good pay besides being a store manager would be being on the corporate side of things. This is a grocery outlet store opening. It's a grand opening. And you're going to see a lot of people from corporate at one of these. If you were just hired for a grand opening, you're going to be very thankful for the help that Grocery Outlet brings in. And other owners around you will volunteer their time and help you, and often send employees from their stores to help train you and help get you through these first couple of busy weeks as everybody's learning and a new store is opening. Now, if you decide to apply for Grocery Outlet Corporate, or you already have, they pay very well. The corporate offices are very nice. I've been there. They have great espresso machines. They also have many amenities. Executive management is very nice. They have to make some tough decisions sometimes, just like any other company. They have to make decisions as to where to put stores, and unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out and they have to terminate people in corporate, just like anywhere else, or terminating some of the owners and removing them from the store, which is one of the most unfortunate things a grocery outlet executive will ever do. Will your owner lose their store? Are you worried about it as an employee? Most likely, if they're going to lose their store, it's because of store standards. They're not doing sales, they're not growing sales, and they're not making money. And then they're not happy anyways. They're not going to be able to make their bills, so they maybe want out as much as Grocery Outlet wants them out. Or the other thing is inventory, which for most stores comes every 3 months. When you open, it's going to come at 30 days. If you pass that inventory, it will come every 3 months after that. Inventory is very, very, very important. When they inventory the store, they will inventory it at 0.5%. That's your margin of error. Anything more or less than that on one side or the other is a retake, which means that owner will have to pay to have a team come in and recount their store 30 days from then. They're not going to be very happy about that because they're going to be out that money, and they're going to make things very, very tight in the store, as they probably are. So it's extremely important to make sure all items are written off, all theft is reported to management, the owner, or appropriate people. There really is not much margin of error at all as far as that is concerned. And unfortunately, that is kind of part of your job, because if your owner loses his or her store, and a new owner has to come in, it can be a little tumultuous. So not to worry you, but if that seems to be the way your store is going, possibly it's time to look for another job. There'll pretty much be an air. The feeling is in the air when this sort of thing happens. You might be a cashier scanning items at the check stand. As we looked at earlier, you may end up being a merchandiser. Cashiers can work all sorts of different shifts. Usually there's an opening cashier from 8 to 4, which generally stays in the check stand the entire time. Cashiers that come in later will be expected to do other things, such as stock the soda coolers. They might get out on the floor to do wine, other things that are asked of them. These are grocery aisles, of course. If you've merchandised in the past in another store, you've most likely had schematics. Grocery Outlet does not have schematics. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. That's what I like to say from when I was there. Basically, whatever's in the warehouse is whatever's ordered. Looking at this store right here, it looks like the warehouse had a lot of cranberry juice. So sometimes you end up low on some things. You end up with wide arrays of the same product. That is not generally what an aisle is going to look like. Generally, most items are going to be one item wide, and you're going to have to move everything over on the shelf to make room for these new items. So it's kind of like a Tetris thing. It's kind of nice because it does keep you more mentally stimulated, but breaking down the pallets in the back, you're going to have to break them all down. You're going to have to tag them. It is a lot of work. And right now, with wages rising and the owners not really being able to afford to run their stores, to be quite honest, a lot of them, it is very tight. You might be throwing 2 to 3 trucks of grocery with 2 people a week. That is a lot of freight. And when you have to cut it, prep it, find a spot for it on the shelf, tag it, there is not a whole lot of time to go to the bathroom or do much of anything else. You're also probably going to be responsible for getting carts during the day that are out in the parking lot, some courtesy and cleanup calls. If you are overweight right now, you're probably going to lose some weight because you're going to hustle. You're going to work, if it's summertime, you're most likely going to work in an extremely hot back room. and even on the floor. Most of these owners, or a lot of these owners right now, do not have the money to pay for air conditioning unless it gets extremely hot. So the store I was at, the back room might be 90 or 100 degrees. You better work, you better move, or you're not going to get your stuff out before the next truck comes. Let's go into a little more of the negatives, I guess. Human resources. You've worked for a larger company and maybe there's human resources. Let's get into that. So human resources, this is kind of what it looks like in a larger corporation. Recruitment selection, personnel administration, training and development, performance and reward management, talent management, labor relations, succession planning. There's going to be some recruitment. You were interviewed. As far as personnel administration, administration is going to pretty much be the owner. Training and development, it all depends on the owner that you're with. Some owners are very big on training. Right now, there's just not a lot of money to spend on labor for training, though. So a lot of things you're going to learn as you go. For some of you, that's going to be very good. Performance and reward management. Some of the owners are very generous. They might give you an extra day paid off. Sometimes they have something called win what you spend. So the employees at one store I seen, you put your receipts when you make a purchase inside of a big bin, inside of like a big plastic bin or basket. And once every payday, this owner would pull one of the receipts out there. You have your name on it, up to $50 is what it was at this store, was you would win that amount in a gift card. So that's pretty sweet. And the groceries there are already pretty cheap. So you win $40, $50 worth of groceries. Goes quite a ways. Talent management, basically once you start to get talented, you're going to try to manage to get your way out that door and to a better job, or continue your way through college. Because like I said, there's really not much upward movement there. Labor relations and succession planning, unfortunately, these two things can run into each other. Labor relations, you want to talk about going to someone for human resources, that is your owner. That can be a good or a bad thing. If you have another fellow employee or a manager that's giving you a hard time, you're going to go to your owner. Most likely they're going to deal with it because they don't want to be sued. They don't want to get personally sued or personally have to deal with a labor board. It's very, very time consuming for them. They don't want to have to deal with that. So most likely they're going to talk to whoever it is you're having an issue with and take care of it. If you have the issues with the owner themselves, good luck on that one. Then you go back to this managing to get out the door kind of thing. There's nowhere above that owner basically to go with Grocery Outlet. Your owner can tell you to get the F out of their store and that they wish you were never born. And I know I'm being very blunt and very rude here, but these are things that are said sometimes in the grocery and retail industry. And if you call up Grocery Outlet, they're going to smile at you and they're going to tell you, well, that's nice, have a great day. You're pretty much going to have to deal with it. So if your owner breaks things every day, unless they physically assault you and you have to call the police are pretty much the only people that are going to help you against an owner. Other than that, they can verbally abuse you as much as they choose. They can scream in your face, they can swear at you, they can throw things. Basically, the only thing they're held to is the law. They can't discriminate against protected classes. Against, if it's a man, they can't treat women different than men. If you're a minority, they can't treat you differently than someone else. But they can scream in your face. They can call you a loser. They can call you an idiot. They can send you home. They can make you do the most horrible things on earth that they want you to do to make you quit so they don't have to pay you unemployment, or just for their own general amusement, if that's what they choose to do. Like I said, most of these owners are pretty nice people. Some of them are in financial positions right now that no one would really want to be in. And that's where they get to the succession planning. Basically, there's two things to the succession planning. Let's go over the negative, since I've been in the negative, real quick, and then let's get to the positive, because there is positive in this. Succession planning is... The negative is if your owner's pretty much worried about the succession planning. They're losing their store because he or she did not run their store optimally. They're failing inventories. Their store isn't up to store standards of cleanliness, merchandising, or they're just not making sales. They're not making the company any money. And they could be doing their best. Their store can look perfect, clean, absolutely immaculate. If it's not doing the sales, Grocery Outlet says, oops, sorry, GTFO. So, Grocery Outlet is planning for them to be succeeded by someone. Let's go to the positive part of succession planning. A successful store that's doing a lot of money in sales, like, say, Grass Valley, California. That's one of the most successful stores. It is the most successful store in the company. And there are several of these successful stores in the company. You can be trained. You can work your way up from an employee, from a cashier, or even a cart clerk, which can be hired as young as 16 years old. Work your way up into management and be seen, be recognized, and your owner can say, hey, I'm going to recommend you for the AOT program. What is that? That's the Aspiring Operator Trainee. You can actually go all the way from there, from a cart person, to possibly being able to own your own store, at least getting trained to do your own store. You're going to have to go through a lot of work with that owner and in a class to get through. But you may end up with your own headache of a grocery outlet one day. And some of these stores are actually very profitable. Some of them are very difficult to run right now, but some of them are very profitable. If you are curious about owning your own store, maybe you just signed up for the AOT program, you're looking into buying a grocery outlet, or you're a manager and you're looking to go to the grocery outlet, what they call these socials. And they'll have the managers in there, and you'll kind of get fast-tracked through the AOT program because you're an internal candidate. If you're in any of those positions, feel free to message me down in the comments, and we will get in contact somehow. I don't want to put it on here, but I can give you some information as far as my experience with Grocery Outlet, and I can let you know, some of the positives and some of the pitfalls of that, what to do and what not to do, since me and my wife went through the training program. I hope this was helpful. If you've worked for Grocery Outlet or you're planning to work for Grocery Outlet, leave your comments down below. Let me know how accurate you think I am. Hopefully, like I said, this was helpful. I don't want to scare you away. If you're looking for a first job or something to do, for 20, 25 hours a week to kill some time, this might be right for you. If you're looking for a career planning, like I said, unless you're going to be the store manager or you're going to look to own your own store, it's a stepping stone job. Could be great for a college student. But like I said, put any questions you have for me down there in the comments. Let me know what you think of this review. I hope that was helpful. As always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see you all later.